again in the chapel, and an absolutely gorgeous day. I'd like to share with you something about the Bible, and there's what's called the Synoptic Gospels. Basically what that is, it's Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And the reason they're called the Synoptic Gospels is that they use primarily the same source. And that source is called Proto-Mark. And so in Mark, which is what we believe is the first of the Synoptic Gospels that's written, Jesus is talking to the disciples and talks about how difficult it is for a rich person to go into the kingdom of heaven. And he says it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. And that really shook the disciples up. In fact, they responded as I would. Well, then who's going to be able to be saved? And Jesus responds. It's the perfect answer, and it's what we all need to hear. In Mark, the first gospel that was written, he says, for mortals it is impossible, but not for God. For God, all things are possible. And then in Matthew, which was written to a Jewish Christian community, the words are, for with mortals it's impossible, but for God all things are possible. And then Luke, who is writing to the Greek Gentile community, and is a doctor, so he's right to the point. He says, what is impossible for mortals is possible for God. I love those words, and especially now. Everything is possible with God. Faye Sweeney wrote about the God who enables. And she wrote, it is God who enables you to smile in spite of tears, to carry on when you feel like giving up, to pray when you are at loss for words, to love even though your heart has been broken over and over again, to sit calmly when you feel like throwing up your hands in frustration, to be understanding when nothing seems to make sense, to listen when you'd really rather not hear, and to share your feelings, because that's a good way to lighten the load. And she concludes, as we heard in those gospel texts, anything is possible because God makes it so.